Has anything surprised you about the business so far?
The income?
The income? Good,
Yeah.
bad?
Good.
Good.
Good. A lot better than we thought. You hear these numbers at training and you understand the West Australian market's definitely different to the eastern states. It's just really nice getting reward for your hard work. And you don't have to rip people off to make a good living. You need to be consistent, hold yourself to a high standard of work, and you're going to make good money.
So, Brett, thank you very much for joining us today in the Jim's Mowing Jim's Group podcast. And I think you emailed Jim, I think maybe after the 30-day email where Jim sends how everyone's going, and sort of mentioned to him about coming on the podcast to talk about the great opportunity for younger people that it could be as well doing Jim's Mowing. But first of all, how have you been going in your franchise and how's it all been?
Yeah, no, it's been fantastic so far, well above what we expected. I didn't expect as much work as we're getting. But yeah, it's one of those things, if you want to stay busy and you want to work hard, there's just endless amounts out there for us, which was really reassuring after moving up and not really knowing what we're in for. Just the way the system's set up, and our franchisor has been a massive help for us as well. So, no, very positive start.
Yeah, I remember meeting you in training. I remember talking to you at lunch. It's sort of a bit, from our perspective, we know that you guys will be busy if you have a crack and stuff, but it's sort of one thing for us saying it for you to see it yourself. So just how busy have you been? Sort of what types of jobs have you been doing and how you've been enjoying the work overall?
A lot of cleanups at the moment, not as many mowing regs with how hot it's been, water restrictions and whatnot, but the physical side has caught me off guard. Like, I've grown up on a family farm, been farming my whole life. I didn't expect it to be as physical as it is. And it's been great. I've really enjoyed it. And that's where I think if we can get younger people to have a crack, is just such a big opening in the market for them. People just can't do it themselves. I understand why. Like, it's very physically demanding and it's only going to suit certain people.
And when you say physically demanding in a good way, like what does it mean to you when you say physically demanding? Is it like just a lot of bending over? Is it a lot of moving around, a lot of walking?
Yeah, that's right. With starting in the middle of summer, especially on big cleanup jobs, it's definitely a good physically demanding, but that's where I think the younger people can really thrive with it. You get out what you put in with, is what I'm finding with this job. If you're willing to work hard and set a standard for yourself, you can do really well.
And how old are you, Brett?
31.
Only young. But I remember you mentioned in the email to Jim, it was like 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds, because we got Jim doing a lot of interviews this week on radio and stuff, and sort of the narrative you're sort of told leaving school is either do a uni or leave early and do a trade. There's sort of no in-betweens about business ownership. So, you mentioned then about young people having a crack, but what would you sort of say to maybe a younger person, maybe 20, 21, maybe 19, about maybe looking at what sort of traits should they have, or what would you sort of advise them?
I just think if you're self-driven and you've got a work ethic, like, this is the safest way to be your own boss without being completely alone. The Jim's Group is set up to find work for you. It takes the risk out of it. I know I'd heard that and I heard it repeated a lot of times at training, but you don't believe it until you're doing it. If there's a way that we can get them to come with us for a week or like a work experience or something like that, they're going to see that it's not that daunting to be self-employed. Yeah, there is hours that you got to put in, the bookwork side, but you've got the whole network to help you. Everyone we've spoke to wants to help us. You don't feel like a burden at all.
Now, you said daunting to be self-employed. Is this your first time at self-employment, or you've had a business before or anything?
No, we've being on the farm, it's a family farm. We've always kind of worked for ourselves, worked for the family, but yeah, this is the first time my wife and I have gone out on our own.
How have you found it?
Yeah, good. Really.
You've only been on a month and you want to come on the podcast. It must be going good, which is great to hear.
It is. No, it's been fantastic. And I think for me, I've never had a job where you do the work and you get paid like you did.
Now, being a farmer, I shouldn't laugh. All of my family are dairy farmers from back home in Warrnambool. So
you would understand. It's like you work all year for your one big harvest. And with this, it was like I did a job and we were paid before I got home. And I was just like, this doesn't happen. Big changes with that and with learning city life, traffic, all the type of fun stuff that you don't see in rural Western Australia. But no, it's been very positive. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, it's a good perspective. I've had a few farmers on before and no one's ever said that yet. I've had a few dairy farmers on and stuff, but you're right. You might have one harvest for the year and hope it's a good one. If not, it's a bit of trouble. So yeah, getting paid at the job, after the job must be a nice change.
Yeah, it pushes you to hold yourself to a standard.
And when you say standard, let's talk about the Jim's Mowing standard, because there's obviously a lot of independence online and Jim's Mowing's the big player and anything we do can never be right. So let's talk about a standard. What's your standard in your business?
franchisor, Peter Rogers, he's really just mentored us really well in the way of, this is what I do, this is why I'm successful. If you work like this, if you present like this, leave a job like this, the rest is going to take care of it. He said that mowing and edging isn't the main thing. It's customer service and presentation. That's just stuck with me, and that's how I try and work every day. If you can walk away from the job proud of what you've done, you can't lose.
Absolutely. I was going to say, Peter Rogers is a franchisee and a franchisor as well. So he's on the tools as well. So you sort of get that good, he exactly knows what you're going through.
Yes, exactly.
With me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was going to say with yourself, has anything surprised you about the business so far?
The income?
The income. Good, bad?
Good. A lot better than we thought. You hear these numbers at training and you understand the West Australian market's definitely different to the eastern states. It's just really nice getting reward for your hard work, and you don't have to rip people off to make a good living. You need to be consistent, hold yourself to a high standard of work, and you're going to make good money. You just need to be willing to work.
I was going to say, how do you think the WA market's different?
So we keep in the group that I did training with. We run a WhatsApp group together and we keep in touch. And just the pricing, WA is definitely lower than the eastern states. Maybe it's population, I'm not sure. Maybe, but it's...
I'm surprised to hear with all the good mining jobs over there people have. I'm surprised to hear that.
That's right, yeah. It's definitely, it's not far off, but you boys over that side definitely make the big bucks.
I was going to say, what type of services? Obviously, it's the grass not growing at the moment, but you mentioned garden cleanups. But what's the for the eastern states people? I know the grass and lawn over there is a bit different, and what jobs you probably do, like reticulation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What sort of services are different towards maybe the eastern states that you're doing?
Our soil over here is, to put it nicely, it's terrible. It's just sand that doesn't hold moisture. It's non-wetting. So retic systems are huge, very important. You can't hold a lawn through summer or spring if you don't have a good retic system. So finding a lot of work down that path, it's something that I really enjoyed. The diagnostic side of it, the installs, it's challenging. Got a mechanical background, so I like problem solving. That's something I've really enjoyed. A lot of landscaping, because again, the sandy soils, it's hard to build something that's a secure structure. You need to be quite good at what you do. Been trying to get in touch with landscapers to learn from them. Yeah, if you can have all the tools in the shed, you're going to get a lot more work. Landscaping's a big one I want to learn. I think there's a huge area to expand in Perth with that, if you can do it well.
Yeah, you got unlimited leads almost in landscaping, because obviously it's an optional service code you can do it. And some people get the gym's landscaping branded separate trailers as well. There's not many of them, but there's a good market and good money too if you can do it, for sure. It's hard work, but it's a really good one.
Yeah, it's something you need to be confident in.
Yeah.
There's just too many repercussions if you cut corners.
That is true. I've seen it happen a few times, unfortunately, with we've got a warranty fund in gyms, as people should know. We've got a work guarantee. So if something does happen, the warranty fund will be there for the customer. But sometimes you got to know what you're doing with that sort of stuff, or it can cause a few issues, retaining walls, those sorts of things.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to know your laws too, like council approval over certain rights. There's all stuff that you can't bluff your way through this. You need to admit when you can't do something, be confident when you do something.
How have you been going tackling new jobs? Because you mentioned you've obviously got a farming background, so you probably know a bit of pretty handy already. But I'm sure there's jobs you'd come to and you're going, geez, what do I do here, or how do I tackle it? So how do you go and acquire the knowledge for that, or how do you approach a job that you sort of, maybe it's the first time you're doing it, how do you do that?
Once again, through Peter Rogers, being able to reach out to his network with all the franchisees he has under him and the people he's dealt with over the last decade. I just basically ask him who he would recommend. I get a phone number. I reach out within the gyms group, get the information I need. It works really well. We've just had a new handyman come onto the gym scene. I've been reaching out to him quite a lot for retaining walls, fencing, anything like that we need. It's the network. That's what gives you such security going into quota job, is even if you don't know, you can find someone who does.
Yeah, I was going to say, because customers, even though it's gym's mum, I presume customers ask you for a whole bunch of things. As you mentioned, a handyman, you're a fencing. Yeah. Customers just will ask you for a lot of different things outside of what people might think gym's mum can do.
Absolutely. I went and quoted something last Monday, which they wanted me to basically project manage the install of that pool.
Really?
Which included landscaping, earth moving, plumbing, electricians, tree removal. And I did not think that's what I was walking into when the lead came through. So that one definitely, I had to get onto Peter quite quickly and say, mate, I need some phone numbers.
So you're doing that one, are you?
That is a work in progress, definitely. I don't know how that one's going to play out.
Yeah. I've heard that quite often with franchisees, where they get where a customer get one's franchisee and they ask him, I don't know, you don't do this, but do you know someone, or can you do this or whatever? And the next thing you know, they're, as you said, they're a project manager bringing in 8, 9 out of 10 people and doing the work that needs to be done. But it just says a lot about the brand and the trust people must have in you.
That's what I found. People love you. Rock up with your uniform. There's accountability. Like if you don't treat the customer right or they don't treat you right, there's traceability of what you've done, where you've been. They can put a name to you. Like if I'm disrespectful to a customer, they ring the gyms group. The gyms group know who's been there. And I like that too because it stops people being sloppy.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's what, when people use gyms, that's where they really want to come for it. As you said, there is support there if needed, if something does happen, whereas with an independent, you don't get that support. The only thing you can do is leave a bad review and that's it. Whereas with us, there's always accountability.
That's also something I've found is looking to the option of purchasing clients.
Okay.
We had an independent approach us off the street. Lovely guy, business seems sound. But then there's someone within the mowing network in Perth that wants to move someone. And it's just such a safer feel when my wife and I are going to fork out money for customers. You know, the accountability is there for the person selling the customers too. Like it's not just mowing and edging, like I said, like it's the whole process. The trust that's built around the brand gives you real confidence to take risks.
Absolutely. And why did you choose Jim's Mowing when you were moving down? Did you move down and made a decision to do it, or you moved down to do it, or why did you do it?
The initial move was for our eldest to start high school up in Perth. But I actually told this story to Jim when we were having dinner one night at training. And Kelly, my wife, asked me what I wanted to do. And I had always thought of being a gardener. But the words I said was, I'm going to be a Jim's mowing person. I didn't say a mowing person. I don't know why I said a Jim's mowing person. And that's someone coming from Munglunup, Western Australia, Esperance, Western Australia, where there isn't any gyms. That was what came to my mind above just being a gardener. And then I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to start looking into that. And that's as simple as it was to get the ball rolling, was that's how powerful the brand is. That was my go-to. And then the more we looked into it, the more confidence we got. Training was brilliant. It really was. I said to my wife after the first day, if I get nothing more out of this, it was worth coming. And I think if, especially from Western Australia, if we can get more people to training, they're going to see how promising it can be. But I think that's an issue on itself because it is a big commitment from over here.
Yeah, it's always been a big flight, isn't it? It's more expensive to go from Perth than it is from New Zealand to Melbourne for sure.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they can watch the videos online and listen to this, and that gives them the confidence because pretty much everything we do at training's online for people to see to hopefully get it across. But yeah, you're right, Brett. It's always been a problem, that big flight from Perth over to here. So hopefully more people can do it. I was going to say though, with your business, what equipment did you go with? Why, maybe brands? You want to talk about your equipment setup, what you've got at the moment?
I'm Milwaukee.
Right.
Always have been on the farm.
And you're the first I've had say Milwaukee for your stuff. So maybe do you want to talk a bit about that?
Yeah. So it's just basically everything we've always had on the farm. I did look at other options for sure. Unfortunately, I think it's Cress.
Yep.
They weren't able to come when we were at training, which were basic. They were the only guys that could have swayed me across, I think. But I just stuck with what I knew. The equipment's been brilliant. I like the battery power stuff. My mower is petrol though. Right. We cut a lot lower over in Western Australia. The electric mower doesn't go low enough. My ride-on is a bad boy 42-inch, which has been brilliant as well. But yeah, I can't fault the Milwaukee equipment. The batteries have lasted like they said they would. Never ran out of power. So far, everything's been great.
And how many customers do you have? Do you have a lot of regular customers yet, or what's your client base size?
I think in our first 30 days, we took 72 leads, but I think we're about at 25 regulars.
Awesome.
Like I said, it's hard to convert clean-ups into regulars, especially this time of year when they don't have a lawn to go back to maintain. So you can only suggest mowing sand so many times.
I think 25 is pretty bloody good then, hearing that, because I know how hot Perth can get in the summer. So yeah, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good number. So what's your plan for your business? Are you hoping to grow to like a 80 customer base, or what do you sort of want to do?
Yeah, yep. No, absolutely. So if we can get to about 100 regulars, we would like to put an offsider on. We've also spoke about the options of going down a second path of Jim's cleaning or Jim's pool care. We're still trying to find our feet. We still have the family farm down in Esperance, and we have a big connection to that. We need to go down and do work there, which again is why we lean towards gyms with the flexibility. I think once we get summer out the way, we look at possibly employing someone and really decide what our business goals are from there.
Yeah.
And see if we can still manage the farm side of things from 700 Ks away.
I was going to say, and when you mentioned your wife, so you and your wife are out in the field together, or how does it work?
Yeah, on big jobs, she comes out and helps. But Kelly is the face of the business. She does the quoting. She does all the invoicing, chasing up suppliers, all that type of stuff. So I basically came up with the plan when I was at training, because we were going to just completely work together. But I thought if she could be the face of the business, do all the work required for me to just rock up to the job and do it, it's going to buy us time to be able to go down the farm. And it has worked really well. We have had to cut our leads back though, because we're basically booked up till March. And it's
pretty good.
Yeah, it's just hard to, people don't want to wait 4 weeks for a quote, which is completely understandable. We have been putting the hours in for sure, but we had 3 young boys and we are required at home at some point.
So you got 3 young boys, you've got the farm you do, and you do the business together.
Yep. Do
you have time for anything else? Is it all your time at the moment?
All our time at the moment. We love going to the gym each day. So we do that in the morning together before we go off to work. But yeah, hopefully next summer I'll be able to play cricket up here. Yep. It was just a little bit too much with the move and getting the kids settled into school to commit to any sport.
Bro, you're a better bowler or all-rounder.
I'm not that great at any of it, but I just really love it. Definitely a cricket diehard.
I was going to say, with you're obviously good at time management then as a family, which is great. And I think a lot of people, I think one thing in gyms, you've got to be good at time management. So is there any software you use or anything, or how do you manage your time so effectively?
We just run Jim's jobs, Jim's online, and we do all our invoicing through Xero. Yeah, we're still finding our feet there. Franchisor put us onto Circuit for our route planning. That works well, but mainly it's just controlling the chaos, mate. That's all you can do. And with 3 boys, there's plenty of chaos.
I can imagine, but it's great that you've got a business which allows you to be flexible. Is that sort of the main, would have been the main thing as well? What business can we do for the flexibility that allows us to earn good money? Yeah. So if you need to get to the farm for an extended time or something with the boys or whatever, we can do it.
Well, that's right. So I work through Saturday and Sunday so that I could take the boys to school for their first day. I could be there for that first drop off. Went all through this weekend because I wanted to watch the Super Bowl today. So you can do stuff like that. It's brilliant. We're going down the farm on the weekend. So next weekend, we'll just work through the weekend. It's just, you build it how you want to build it. If it's getting overwhelming, turn your leads off for a day. It's as simple as that. You're in complete control of how you want to run your business. Just being able to go, all right, it's Sunday. I want to be at home without my phone going off. You just turn your leads off. I don't know what business you can, as an owner, and especially coming from farming side, you can't do that. You're on 24/7. You have to be. If your livestock's out, if they're out of water, it doesn't matter what day it is, you need to deal with it. It's refreshing knowing that you can just turn the phone off. You know that those customers are still getting looked after. They're going to who's available that day. They're not missing out, but also you get time to have a life.
You mentioned the training before, so coming over from Perth can be scary for the training, but you mentioned you love the training experience. What about the mowing component of the training? How did you find the mowing component? Because I know the boys, there would have been John and maybe was it Des?
Yeah,
John and Joe's Tate. Yeah. How did you find that mowing side of the training?
Yeah, really good. They are both just genuinely good people. That gave me a lot of confidence as well, knowing that they'd been out in the field themselves, been very successful in what they do. You can see why they were successful, and I understand not every franchise owner is going to be as big as they were. They just really showed that you can make it your own. They were good with any questions that were WA specific or New Zealand specific. They knew that we need a chem cert over here where you don't. In I think most of the other states, you're not required to have one. They knew that we cut lower, so we couldn't go electric. They gave us real life in-field examples of what could go wrong and what can go right, which you don't want to just know about all the good stuff because then you're not prepared for anything to go wrong.
And what has been the biggest learning for you so far in your business? What's been the biggest thing you've learned?
Be honest and upfront with your clients. For example, I thought I smashed a window. So I called the client. She was at work. I asked if she had time to come home. I said to her, to be completely honest, I don't know when I did it, but I'm pretty sure this was me. And she was just like, no, that was the last mowing guy. And he didn't tell us about it. Obviously, that was a massive relief for me, but I was genuinely scared to call her because I was like, oh, my excess is going to be $500. That's more than the window's worth. But you just have to do the right thing. If you're open, people are going to understand. Like, we are going to make mistakes. It's just knowing that you've got your support and just be honest with it.
And what advice then maybe for someone looking at doing what you're doing, what would you say to them? What would help them maybe do what you're doing? What would you sort of say?
I believe if anyone could come with you out in the field, they're not going to turn it down.
Yeah.
We just need to get people in our youth driving around seeing what we do, because it's good fun. It's a brilliant job, and it's the best way to work for yourself. Like, I would promote the gyms group to anybody. The lifestyle you can have and the income you can make, it's just so flexible.
Were you surprised by the income? Because I think people, there's still a lot of stigma around, cleaning or gardening or that $25, $20 an hour type of job.
Yeah.
Were we surprised by the income you've been doing?
Yeah, absolutely. One thing Jim said was that trust the brand. Like, the reputation is there. It did take me a few weeks to really start trusting my quoting, but yeah, like, we were finding our feet in that first month, and we still did really well, and it just exceeded expectations with it. It was great.
Quoting can be very tough for anyone. So what did you find? Was it about the quoting in the early days? Was it just about not sure about the amount, or not sure if people would pay it, or what was more from your perspective?
I was a bit uneasy. I was just absolutely certain I didn't want to rip anybody off.
Yeah.
And I think I ended up ripping myself off the first couple of weeks. One thing I didn't take into consideration as much is how expensive it is to get rid of Green West. After my first week, we looked back and I was like, how are we not making money? And that was how, because the tip fees are ridiculous. I just could not believe it. We're on a farm. Everything does not go to the tip. So yeah, it was just a completely new experience for me. How can they promote people to do the right thing with their waste, with their garbage, and then charge them as much as they do? That's really shocked me up here, to be honest.
Yeah. What's the average green tip, or what are you guys paying?
So 2.5 cubic meters is $186.
Okay, it's a lot.
Yeah, that's not a lot of green waste.
No, you got to factor, and this is what customers got to understand. You got to factor that in your price. Yeah. That's one cost of your business plus fuel and all those other things as well.
Yeah,
and you got to make a profit as well. So that's the whole key, isn't it? So how'd you fix your quoting up then? Was it just, did you do like a backwards calculation, or how did you, and like, I want to make this margin, or how did you actually come up with your figures for what you're doing?
I got a price list from the tip and I started showing people. That's what I had to do, because I didn't believe it myself. So I thought, how are they going to believe it? So I got the price list.
Yeah.
I just was completely transparent with the customers, and they were all shocked as well. Most of them have never been to the tip before.
Yes, that's a good point. So you're very transparent up front with it, and there was no problem.
Yeah. There are going to be people that will try and walk over you, and that's just part of it. But most people are good people.
How do you deal with the sticky customers then?
Back yourself and your ability to know what you're worth. You can tell if people are being that way because of personal situations, or if they're just being mean. There is a difference. My wife is definitely better at picking it than I am. So I think I've learned a lot from her with that. Just the amount of people you have to deal with. Every now and then someone's going to try and pick your pocket. You just got to hold your ground. I find even if they're irritated or slightly aggressive, if you're genuine and nice, it makes them very hard to stay that way.
That's true. It's very hard for them to keep being angry at someone who's just smiling back or being a bit happy or not reacting.
Or offering you solutions to your problem.
Yes, for sure. Now, is there anything else, Brett, I haven't asked you that you may want to say today? Or I've just peppered you with a lot of questions, different things. So is there anything else I haven't asked you maybe that you want to come on and say?
No, not really. I just really think there's such an opening for a younger demographic here in WA. There is just so much physical work out there that people don't have to go and work for someone else for 15 years. They can start at 20, 22 and work for themselves the whole way through, build their business how they want to. We just need to get people in vehicles, driving around, seeing what we do, because it's very rewarding.
I think 20-year-olds now are a lot more cluey or very cluey, technology, like things you mentioned like Zero and all the gym systems we have, which I think would be no-brainer. And I think the customer service side as well.
Yeah.
I think people could pick that up. So there's no reason why a younger person couldn't do it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just limitless possibilities within the network. And it's just trying to prove that to people so they take the first step. Once you take the first step, you're set. You just need to believe. And I know the cost of living is huge in Perth. And I think that's what stops a lot of people. They've got the security of their job. They know what the paycheck is every fortnight. What if it doesn't go well? Outlaid for this equipment. But there's ways so you don't have to outlay everything. with Easy. I think we came up with
Easy
Rental.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, we looked at going down that path and it was fantastic. It made everything very affordable. We just need people to take that first step. Being in the system now, I just believe I owe it to people to show them that they can do this. Why not work for yourself from a young age? If you hear it all the time that from franchisees that they wish they started earlier. We just need people to start earlier.
Yes, you're right. We do. But the annoying thing for us is that, at school you're sold, university or trade, and that's it, which is crazy. Like, whereas you see a lot of TV shows now, Shark Tank and stuff talk about entrepreneur and owning a business and stuff, but it never seems to be a viable thing that young people get taught about, unless they've got a parent or something, or yourself, you grew up on a farm, so that's a business, but or at least they have a parent or something who has a business, which sort of gets them into that sort of mindset. So I've met a few people through training who had parents who have businesses and they're 21, 20, and their parents are the ones who actually drive them to do the business. It's never really, sometimes a franchisee, and obviously being on a farm is the business as well. So you have that really good advantage in what you're doing.
Yeah, no, that's right. And I understand social media is a great way to reach people, and you guys do tireless work over there creating content. We just, you can watch as many videos as you want. We just need them to get in a cab.
Observation there, yes.
Yeah. And I don't know how we bridge that gap.
Well, I think what we'll do is we'll run some clips from this with some ads and book an observation day, and hopefully people can do that. Because you're right. I think the observation day, once people get out there in the field and information packs, are great. But once you get in your actual vehicle with someone like yourself and have a chat and see the lifestyle, it's pretty much a no-brainer.
Oh, that's it. It really is. And I know it's easy to say that from the inside looking out now. Yeah, I definitely wasn't like that looking in, but that's why I want to help bridge that gap.
Well, I should have asked you then about skepticism, obviously fees, because when people hear franchising, they hear, they all have funny things unless they know about it. So fees, how are you finding the fees in comparison to what you receive? How does that sort of marry up for you?
The way I look at it is if you convert that lead, you haven't paid anything. That's pretty simple. We were on a job doing a big cleanup, and private contractor who used to do the lawn walked up the back and said how we must be charging him because we work for Jim. He was absolutely shocked when I said, no, we are in complete control of setting our own pricing.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, you're not. And I'm like, yeah, we actually are. Like, we could do this for free if we wanted to. The people just don't know that. They just think that we're working for somebody, which we're not. We've bought our own piece of a very successful, very large business. That's how it keeps growing.
And people have some funny ideas, Brett. We obviously do a lot of TikTok and stuff, and it's the same thing. Jim takes 40%. Why give 30%? Why pay a lead fee when you're not going to convert the job? And as you said, if you get that customer from a lead fee, let's say it's $12, whatever it is, and that customer stays with you for the next 10 years or whatever, you're doing a fortnightly or monthly, whatever you're doing, it's a really good value. And there's a lot of incorrect information, especially from independents when it comes to gyms, unfortunately.
Because you haven't paid advertising yourself, you're not having to put in the hours of what times to upload things, what groups to target. It's all done for us. The brand is built. That initial lead that comes through, we convert that. We know the percentages of, if you call back in under 5 minutes, you've got a great chance at getting that lead. It's so simple, but you guys have put the work in. You know the percentages. You know the success rate. Just back the system. And
it's great to see you're so, I don't almost say this observation, grateful, which is great for us because we love hearing how well you're doing, and you're happy to come on and actually promote it to get other people to come and do it, which is that it's sort of people might go, why would you want to bring on other people to take all your work or whatever? So it might be a bit counterintuitive. So yeah, what's compelling you to be so forthcoming with this?
There's just so many people that need help. We can't service everybody. The boys that have been doing this 2 or 3 years don't even take leads anymore.
Yep.
So we've got people reaching out to the call centers that we can't get to. And a lot of the people actually genuinely need help to get in control of their yards, or the amount of rush cleanups we're doing because there's a surprise rent inspection coming up and they're absolutely panicking. It's huge. And you see young families, you see people who are really struggling that just need us to come in and help them. I like that type of work because it's very rewarding.
Cleanups are a great one because you can see a massive transformation in a day.
Absolutely.
Good money when you see those big garden cleanups.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, is there anything else, Brett? I know I've kept going for a while, but is there anything else I haven't asked you, mate, or anything you want to share?
No, I think, we've covered everything that we should, I believe.
Well, thank you very much for coming today. I do remember you from training. I didn't know, I looked you up in the system. I saw you only going for a month and a bit, and I was sort of going, okay, I must have met you in training. So it's great to hear how well you're doing. It's always good to meet people in training. There's a lot of concerns and stuff will go as well as I think. And it's very encouraging for us as national office employees to see someone within a month come back from you met in training doing really, really well and happy to share how good it's been. It makes us feel really good, and we're glad to hear that it works in with your life, because the life you describe with 3 kids and your wife's in the business who does a great job, and plus gives you that flexibility is exactly what it's about. So really happy to hear. Yeah.
We are very grateful because it's just been such a good experience all the way through, and we are lucky. Our franchisor has been absolutely magnificent.
Well, we'll give Peter a wrap. That's great to hear. So we need to give franchisors more of a wrap. And then Peter, great franchisor, great experience franchisor, and it's great to hear how good and supportive, because I think it's massively important. I don't know, Brett, because when you would have started the gyms, you might not know what a franchisor is, and all of a sudden you're hearing this term, what's a franchisor? And I think the relationship between you and the franchisor is bloody important, because if it's not a good one, it's not going to really work. So it's great to hear how Peter's been really good with you.
Oh, absolutely. And flexible. Like, we've had to fly up a few times to meet with him and speak before we made the move. And he would pick my wife and the kids up from the airport. He'd pick me up from the airport.
Yeah.
That's going above and beyond. He didn't have to do that stuff. And he checked in on us after we'd moved in to make sure that we weren't getting swamped in everything that was going on. And he's just been such good emotional support person for my wife and I as well. And we're very, very lucky to have him.
Oh, that's great to hear. I was going to say, well done to your wife as well. Who's probably going to watch this, for winning all the quotes and doing all that as well. So most of the gyms Mowing businesses are a partnership and husband and wife team. So it's great to see you guys working together as a team as well. But Brett, thank you very much for your time today. I really do appreciate you reaching out, and great to have more franchisees on if they want to come on as well and share their story. And as you said, observation day is the key. So if you're a young fella or someone in WA wants to learn more about gyms, go on the observation day. I think it's the message from Brett. And glad to hear it's worked out well for you, mate.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate your time too, mate.
All right. Thank you for listening to the episode of the More Than Just Mowing podcast by Gyms Mowing. If you do need help with your local gardening expert, please give us a call on 131 546 for Australia, 0800 454 654 for New Zealand, or head to gymsmowing.com.au or gymsmowing.co.nz. If you liked what you heard, please make sure you leave us a review as well, wherever you consume your podcast. We appreciate your support. And until next episode, we hope you have a great week.